you're third wheeling the girl that you brought on a date with her ex.
Told her don't let her friends know. In the Ville and I move like a dime. Fettuccine and Vincenzo's. Me and my amigos got that free smoke on the West Coast. Yeah, I'm talking about
What's poppin' YouTube? It's your girl Real Life Deal, and I am back at it again with another YouTube video for you guys. In today's video, as you guys saw the title and thumbnail, we'll be reacting to and ranking first date story times. So I compiled a whole bunch of random story times off of the internet, and as you can see on screen, we have a tier maker list. I made this tier, and we're going to be categorizing all of these stories into each of these tiers. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than what my other videos look like because I'm actually filming on my laptop right now. So that's why it's like a little square of me and then mostly the screen. So this is what the video is going to look like for the duration of this video. I don't know why I said it like that. But yeah, before we pull up the stories, let's just say which each tier is. So from worst to best, well, not really best because these are all worst. These are all worst first date story times. So we just have crying and throwing up, extremely upset afterwards, understandable, laughing matter, and the last one being very weird. So there's no in between, there's no good in this. All of these are kind of bad, but these are just like levels to the badness. So let's go ahead and open that first story off. The first one say, I had arranged a date with a guy. Just as I was leaving the house to go on the date, they text me calling it off because he'd met someone else on the bus from work and was going on a date with them instead. Honestly, this would hurt my feelings. Like, I don't know if I would cry or laugh in this situation. Let me think about it for a little bit. Yeah, if I planned a date with someone, like, okay, like, yeah, we're gonna go on a date, blah, 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 and I'll be leaving the house to go, and they'd be like, oh, never mind, I found someone else to go on a date with, I would be crying and throwing up. So we're going to place that first story in the crying and throwing up section, because absolutely not. This second one is, let's pull that one up. I went to a fancy place. He ordered and ate the most expensive food on the menu. He went to wash his hands and never returned. Y'all, that is actually horrible. That has never happened to me before, like ever in my life. I know a lot of people experience this, which is kind of surprising, but I feel like they was only there for the food, clearly, because they never came back. That's kind of like, okay, what do you do? How long do you sit there and wait? Because after 10 minutes, it's like, okay, it's apparent that they left. So we're gonna put that one in the, I don't know if I would be like upset, because if we like finish our food and everything, it don't like matter no more. Like, if they don't come back, that should tell you everything you need to know. So we're just gonna put that one in the understandable. For me, at least, I would understand that. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, what the heck? Like, I wouldn't make a big deal about it. I'll just kind of be like, dang, like, I guess that is what it was. So the next one, let's see. So the next one says, going to a restaurant where his ex was the waitress and he burst into tears begging her to take him back is up there. What? I don't know what they meant by that last part. Let me reread it. I guess they're just saying like the story, like what happened is up there. So that's actually pretty crazy. Why would they be taking you to a restaurant where their ex worked? Like, what? That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Like, what would be the point of this, honestly? What's the point of getting a whole no girl and be like, oh, let's go on a date to such and such place, knowing your ex worked there, know you're not over her? Like, you should have just went there by yourself if that was the case. You just wanted someone else to be a secondhand witness or something? Because what's the point? We're going to put this one in the, I wouldn't be crying and throwing up after this. I think I would be more like upset, but not extremely upset. I should have added that in there. But because we don't have it, I'm just going to put it in the extremely upset. No, we're going to put it in the very weird one. Yeah, very weird. At the end of the first date, I asked if she'd like to go out again. She said she was going to take a break from dating a while. #awkward date. This kind of gives off the same vibes as the other one from earlier with the person not coming back. And I think this is from a guy's perspective. So they saying like they asked if they want to go out again. And she just said no. To ease the blow, she was just like, oh, I'm just going to take a break. Clearly, that's her saying like, oh, I don't like you because I'm not going on another date with you. I will put this one in. I would be a little bit upset because like say for instance he paid for it and stuff, and she'd be like, oh, I don't want to go on dates with you anymore. Or say for instance he was really feeling her and it wasn't like vice versa. I would put this one in the extremely upset after. Okay, it says he took me, a female, to a gay club, got drunk, came out of the closet, met a guy, gave me $40 to catch a taxi home. This seemed like he planned this, y'all. I can't do nothing but laugh at this one. So he took me to a gay. Why would a dude take you to a gay club for your first date? Like, this kind of, I have the same thing to say about this one. It's kind of like, why would you bring a female with you? This is something you could have done alone. But at least she got $40 out of it. But still, that's really crazy. But I would just put that one in a laughing matter because that one made me laugh off bat. The next one says the guy took me to a $1 movie theater, paid for me, then said in total seriousness, you can pay me back later. Honestly, if you don't have no money, why are you even going on a date? Why are you even planning dates? If you're going to plan a date, plan something where you don't got to spend no money. And for it to be a $1 movie theater and asking to be paid back, like what? Oh, let me send you your $2 on Cash App. Like what? That's not really like something you should have to worry about when you're going on a date with somebody, especially if it's a cheap date already. So we're just going to put this in the very weird category. The next one, let's see. This one says a guy once took me to a garbage dump and told me to pick out whatever I wanted. Hashtag worst first date. Honestly, that's not a date. And for one, where were he? You didn't like realize where y'all were going when he was driving there. Like he's driving. Where are you? I feel like dumpsters are not really like out in the open. They're usually like in an alley or like behind a restaurant or like behind a store or something. So for him to drive you there and be like, oh, pick out whatever you want, I feel like that's kind of condescending, honestly. Like what kind of message is that supposed to give the girl? Like, oh, here's the truck, here's a dumpster, here's a trash can, pick out what you want. Like, what? I would feel some type of way after somebody did that to me. So I would do crying and throwing up, because no. Crying and throwing up, because, well, no, not crying and throwing up. It's not that exaggerating, but I will be upset afterwards. So let's put that in the extremely upset after category. Okay, one time I took a girl to the movies. During the movie, she kept looking at the person behind her. Turns out her dad was sitting behind us the entire time. Honestly, this sounds like little kid stuff. Like, this is more so like, oh, you can go on a date, but only if I'm there. Like, only if I'm there waiting for you. So, the dad was behind them, and she kept looking back, turning around. The only explanation for that is to see if she's being watched or not. So, seeing her date and her are being watched. I honestly kind of feel like that's understandable. But then again, like, it's kind of weird. So let's see. Do we want to put it in the understandable or do we want to put it in very weird category? I feel like this had to be like little kids, like middle schoolers. If this is like middle schoolers, then this is very understandable. But if you're an adult, it's very weird. So we're just going to put this in understandable because I'm just going to assume these are little kids. The next story says, went back to her place for dinner and drinks. Oh, after dinner and drinks. And started making out. Made our way to the bedroom only to hear a from the closet where her husband was hiding with the video camera. Y'all, that is so crazy. I feel like this sounds like something out of a movie. Like, this is really weird. Went back to her place. So for one, that means this is a married woman. So a married woman went out on a date with a man. And, you know, they kissed and all the extra stuff. So that means they would have to be in an open marriage, kind of. And then they got to the bed and they heard a cough in the closet. Like, imagine if he didn't cough. Like, her husband would have recorded everything that they did. And I wonder what they would have got out of that. Like, I think that's like some type of kink or like a weird thing where people like to see their partner get smashed. But like, what? This is very weird. I can imagine the awkwardness after this. Like him having to open the closet and be like, oh, hey. And then the guy looking at him like, what the heck, dude? And the girl just sitting there like, she planned this all along. We're just gonna put this in the laughing matter because honestly, this is kind of funny. The next story, let's see. This one is a bit of a lengthy one, so let's see. So this one says, oh wait, let me make sure it's the right one. Okay. So this one says they took a girl to the movies. Now I realize not the best location for first dates. She asked, "Can my best friend come too?" There's a chance, basically. So she said, "Oh, they say I say, of course you can." Trying to be nice was also assuming it was going to be a girl. Shows up with her friend, who is indeed a guy. This is what I find out that it's her one and only ex. Bro, what? But they remain best friends and nothing is happening between them. Well, this date is ruined. Let's try to salvage it. So I kind of cropped this one. This one's like a full like essay length story, but I just wanted to capture this part right here. And honestly, the main point of this one is that's like third wheeling kind of. So this story time is kind of like a third wheeling story time. So you go on a date with someone, they're like, "Oh, can my friend come?" And you're like, "Yeah," and then it's their ex. Like that's kind of like using the other person, kind of like a pawn to say, yes, it's kind of like a pawn or an excuse for them to hang out with their ex or something. But to be BFF with your ex, I don't really agree with that. Like, I can see we regular friends, you know, and y'all just keep our distance. But besties for the resties after you broke up, like, that's a little bit iffy. Even though he said nothing was happening between them, it's kind of weird because like now you're third wheeling the girl that you brought on a date with her ex, and now it's just you, her ex, and her. Like that's weird. That's weird to me. So we're gonna put that in the that's weird because in no way that's not understandable. No, I would be. Would you be extremely upset after that? I don't know. Extremely upset after. Or would it be just very weird? I feel like it'll just be more so very weird. So let's put that in the very weird category. Okay, so the next one says, I was really young, probably about 15 or so. I was boy crazy. I had a crush on every guy who even remotely expressed an interest in me. But this guy, there are no words to describe this guy. His name was Jesse. We met through a mutual friend. While he wasn't exactly my type, he told me he thought I was really pretty. And so I wanted to give him a chance. A couple weeks later, we decided to meet up at the mall for our first official date. He was very sweet. We were holding hands, you know, typical teenage bullish. I don't cuss. And she said it got weird, very weird. We're sitting on the bench and he turns around and stares at me right in the eyes and says, "Wow, when I look at you and I look into your eyes, I feel like I'm looking into your soul." Okay, I'm 15 and desperate with the epic desperate for an epic love story, so I just smile. He goes on, I don't know what that was supposed to be, but DFTBA awesome. I don't know what that means, but it was like, "I know this seems soon, but I think you might be my soulmate. I can't wait until the day we get married and we have babies and live together. We're going to have such amazing life together." This is OD at the age of 15, honestly. At the age of 15, you're like a freshman. Like, you just left middle school and you're a freshman in high school. I can understand, like, the boy crazy part. But after meeting someone, going on a date, and they say all this crazy stuff, it's like, I need to distance yourself a little bit after that. So we're just going to put that one in the very weird category because I feel like if someone's telling you that on first date, you need to run. Like, get going, skedaddle. The next one, I met a guy from OkCupid. I think that's like a love dating or dating site, something like that. And it says he seemed nice, but never stops talking. After interrupting me for the third or fourth time, I finally asked him, "Do you want to hear anything I have to say?" He apologizes profusely, says, "You're right, I'm so sorry," and pulls out a pad of paper and pen. He then jots down notes as I'm telling him about myself and whatnot. I finally ask him what he's doing, and he says, "Oh, I'm writing down things I want to tell you when it's my turn to talk again." Y'all. Honestly, I talk a lot, and I feel like I would never do something like this. Like, even if I'm talking someone's head off, I'm still gonna let them get in, get their little 2 cents in or say how they feel about whatever, blah, blah, blah. But to pull out a piece of paper and pen and write down stuff I want to say while they're telling me about themselves, that's OD. Like, that's really crazy. Who's doing that? That's honestly so crazy to me. I would be upset after that because it's like, it'll kind of be like frustrating. So I'm going to put that one in the extremely upset after. This one says, a guy I met online was so full of himself. There was no room for me at the table. He asked me if I liked his watch, then told me it was $20K, birthday gift to himself. He also told me he could pleasure himself better than any woman could. I like how that part is bolded because, like, that's weird. At one point, he even asked the elderly women sitting next to us if we made an attractive couple. They said yes. His response, ? That's right, ladies. You can buy me online. I was so embarrassed, apologized to them, and she said you can buy any kind of crap online. So I was kind of guess that was supposed to be like a comeback for the embarrassment he just caused for her. So if this happened to me, y'all, I would just be like, that's weird. At this point, all of these are very weird. As you can see, all of the other ones have like 2 or 3, but this one has the most. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the very weird category. Okay, so we are back, y'all. We're gonna skip the first 2 on this list because these are the same ones from earlier, but this is the 3rd one on the list at the bottom. So this one says, I was in high school. I had to pick him up. We went to a casual dining restaurant. So I guess like a regular restaurant. Things were going well until it was time to leave. He told me to go to the car while he paid. So it says I went back to my car. It's the point that she put mine in caps. So my car, so her car. I mean, they both got there via her. And I was getting in. I see him running out of the restaurant. And then continued, it says our waitress is chasing him. He runs to my car, yelling to her he had left his wallet in there. He opens the door and tells me to give him all the cash I have. I do see, realizing what just happened. Never went on a date with him again. And he stole my CDs to top it off. Y'all, this is so crazy. This seems like something out of a movie too. Like, what? That's crazy. So it's not like, oh, go to the car while I pay. That should have clicked in your head to be like, oh, something finna happen. Like, oh, something finna go down. This just seemed like something straight out of a movie scene. I'm shocked that's happened to her. I will put this one in the laughing matter because this was very funny. And I'll be really embarrassed. I should have put that as one of the categories. Okay, y'all. So the last one says, I went on a date with a guy who fell asleep at the table 15 minutes in, then woke up, ordered himself dinner without asking me if I wanted anything, and then fell back asleep until he made me walk him home. Turns out he was tired from his date the previous night. So, okay, so y'all went to a restaurant and he fell asleep at the table for 15 minutes. So I assume they're sitting at the table and the waitress or a waiter did not come to them for a long period of time for him to be falling asleep like that. Then it says he woke up, ordered himself dinner without asking me if I want anything. So that means a waiter eventually came, was like, oh, do y'all want anything? I mean, if it's a date, I would assume both of y'all have a menu and then the waiter would ask both of y'all, do y'all want something? Unless she expected the guy to order for her or something. I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. But so I'm just gonna assume she didn't eat because that's what this is what this story seems like. And then he said he fell back asleep until he made me walk him home. So y'all didn't even drive there. Y'all both walked to the location. And then he was asleep on the date and you didn't eat nothing. And you walked him home. That's OD. This is really crazy. Like, I feel like the girl or whoever went on the date with the guy got the worst end of it because all the stuff I just listed, like, what the heck? Like, you didn't really get nothing out of this. You didn't get no good food. You didn't really get to talk much if he was asleep at the table. And then you had to walk extra because you had to take him home. I can see it was the other way around. Like, the girl took the guy, like the guy took walk the girl home. But no, he shouldn't even went on a date if he was that tired. Sometimes he tired from the date from the previous night. Like, what were you doing the previous night to be this tired? To be falling asleep inside a restaurant. I don't know, y'all. I never fell asleep in a restaurant, so this is kind of crazy to me. So we're just gonna put this one in the, I would be extremely upset after. So when I get home, I'll be upset that this was what I experienced as a date. This pretty much concludes the whole tier list. Like I said earlier, the last 2 at the bottom are repeats. I accidentally put them on here twice. So we have 1 in the crying and throwing up category. We have 4 in the extremely upset afterwards. We have 2 in the understandable, 3 in the laughing matter, and then 5 in the very weird category. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of these little tier videos, and I can do more if y'all want me to. And yeah, that's all for today's video. Bye.